Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I told you the other day that I spilled coffee all over my desk. Well, many of you, if you've been listening to me for a long time, from the very first video that I did for this channel, I had written down on it was a bank deposit slip. I had written down the way that I end this, where I say, I'm the Digital Asset Investor. I'm not an investment advisor. I had written that down on a bank slip, and that bank slip actually got a direct hit with all the coffee. And so I refused to let that bank slip go away. And so it's a deposit slip. And so I'm going to tape it back together. But by the time I'm done on this channel, that is going to be one nasty piece of paper, because right now it's completely coffee stained. But it's like a habit. I put it in front of me before every show that I do. And so I'm going to preserve the thing one way or another. Okay. In this video, there's a few videos. It's interesting in light of a lot of things going on right now. There's a lot of videos that are popping back up, some of which I've shown before, some of which I have not, but they're all important. And so I ran across a couple of them. I want to show, I'm going to start here. I've mentioned before, this XRP King Lynn seems to be really finding some really great items here recently. So here's the first one I wanted to show you.
Past, humans has had to struggle against exploitation. In the 21st century, the really big struggle will be against irrelevance. And it's much worse to be irrelevant than to be exploited. Those who fail in the struggle against irrelevance would constitute a new useless class. People who are useless, not from the viewpoint of their friends and family, of course, but useless from the viewpoint of the economic and political system. And this useless class will be separated by an ever-growing gap from the ever more powerful elite.
That sounds pretty creepy. Okay. And then this one right here, I wanted to show you as well. And these guys are basically telling you that what's really going to happen, it's like Brad Garlinghouse has said 1,000 times. The only things that are really going to matter in the end are the digital assets that have real utility. Listen to what these guys say. And first you need to know, this is Larry Summers, who, he's one of the most connected people in our government. He's also an advisor to the Digital Currency Group, which is one of the first investors in Ripple. Listen to what they say.
Bitcoin piece of it will end up being, maybe Jamie Dimon is wrong that it won't not exist, but it'll be relatively small compared to the overall disruption that blockchain technology, ledger technology can bring to the economy, to all those transactions that you talked about and more.
If I had to bet when...
Hold on, I'm having a little malfunction here. I'm hoping that's not coming across on your end.
The financial history of the 2nd, 7th of the 21st.
Hold on a second. I'm going to stop it and play. Okay, I think we should be good. Here we go.
Century is written, the 40 years from now, the blockchain and all that followed from it will figure more prominently in that story than will Bitcoin, because I think that the verification and confidence without
we've got a little bit of
trust, and enabling that to be done more pervasively will be the most fundamental innovation. And while I'm aware that there are a variety of arguments that you can't really get all those benefits without Bitcoin, my suspicion is that ways will be found to get many of those benefits without the extra uncertainty associated with the fluctuation in the value of Bitcoin relative to the ways in which people currently hold and hold money and denominate transactions.
So what's the economic effect of this? I mean, if this technology really has the potential to get rid of that fee that you pay when you buy your headphones or when you buy your house or when you do foreign.
Okay, I think that's really the end of it. Okay, I wanted to show you this from Camo Ammo. He sent me this Brad Garlinghouse clip from this day, at Dr. Schwartz XRP. Listen to what they say, what Brad Garling, this is a 2018 clip of Brad Garlinghouse.
But ultimately, look, Coinbase will decide what they want to decide. XRP is listed and has liquidity at,
I think this is before Coinbase listed XRP.
Around 75 exchanges around the world. That has expanded a lot as we have brought volume and as we have brought, these institutional flows. We are not, and to be very clear, we are not focused. I've said this a bunch. The consumer speculator is not our target market. Our target market are financial institutions that we can solve a big problem measured in the trillions of dollars using these technologies.
See, that kind of makes sense to me. This has always been for the banks and the central banks. Now, X-Men XRP sent me the actual full-length video, and I wanted to play you another clip against the backdrop of all this SEC drama. Listen to what Brad Garlinghouse says. This is on June 21, 2018.
I'm excited about the future.
Okay, so we can see. Let's turn to XRP. You make the distinction between Ripple and XRP, but the reality is Ripple owns a big mass of it. They own, I think, more than 50% of it, and they're releasing some in escrow every month. What's going on with that? Are you, the sales, are you changing your strategy there at all, or?
No, we've been very transparent. We are, as you described, we are an owner of a lot of XRP, and in some ways not dissimilar than the early, crowd sale of the Ethereum token. 70% of the tokens were held by the founders. Ripple, the company, was granted a whole bunch of XRP tokens. We sell some. We use some as incentives in the marketplace to get customers engaged and even market makers to make very tight spreads. There's a flywheel and network effects, and once you get that moving, there's some significant efficiencies that can be driven.
You brought up Ethereum, and I think the crypto world last week took a lot of notice of a speech by a senior SEC official who basically said Ethereum and Bitcoin are not securities. He focused a lot on decentralization. That's apparently the key thing, that no one's controlling it, no central actor, no third party. Now I want to read you, he didn't bring up Ripple, but I want to read you something. This is what he said. There will continue to be systems that rely on central actors whose efforts are a key to the success of the enterprise. Doesn't that sound a lot like Ripple and XRP?
I think it sounds a lot like the ICO market. I think, these ICOs are issuing tokens. They haven't even released any code. There's no working code, and there's no open source community developing that code. And so they're releasing tokens, and those are effectively what I think the SEC is saying. They've really said for a year now. They're just getting a little more aggressive about it. They're saying these are securities. I think it's really clear that XRP is not a security. And I'll give you three key arguments here. One is, if Ripple, the company, shut down tomorrow, the XRP ledger would continue to operate. It's open source, decentralized technology that exists independent of Ripple. The second is, if you buy XRP, like the people buying XRP, they don't think they're buying shares of Ripple. Like, there's a company called Ripple. We are a private company. We have investors. People have bought shares of Ripple, the company. But buying XRP doesn't give you ownership of Ripple. It doesn't give you access to dividends or profits that may come from Ripple.
But doesn't your treasury management, because Ripple does have this hoard of XRP, won't that sort of inform the success of XRP in the long run?
No, I don't think that our ownership of XRP gives us control. I mean, it is an open source, decentralized technology. Just because we own a lot of an asset, it's a little, Saudi Arabia owns a lot of oil. That doesn't give them control of oil. So I think there's a whole lot of examples where XRP behaves and acts a lot more like a currency, like a commodity. The third point, if the first one is it exists independently, the second one is it's the ownership point, and the third one really back to utility. XRP is solving a problem. Securities there's no utility in a security. So Look, I think the SEC, I look forward to them clarifying some of these things. I thought them announcing that Ether was not a security was actually a positive thing for the industry, for sure. And I look forward to, their further decision making.
Yeah, and yet
So I think he made the best point of all, which is there's no utility in a security. I think that's the mega hole in any kind of case by the SEC. But anyway, we'll see. But the other glaring thing is that this is 2 years ago, but they've been openly and transparently, this XRP thing has been so open and transparent, and they've even been working with the SEC all this time. That's why none of it makes any sense to me. The idea that the guy would come out and sue them and then leave office the next day, it just reeks of something political and not something that has to do with really believing it's a security. Brian Melancholy XRP sent me this. This is from John Deaton. He says the SEC was warned investors would lose billions. Considering the magnitude of an SEC enforcement action against the third largest digital asset, XRP, the SEC, and its chairman, Jay Clayton, was sent a letter prior to the filing of the action from former chief Joseph Grunfest. He warned Clayton and the SEC that the mere filing of the lawsuit declaring XRP an unregistered security would result in an unprecedented scenario of billions of dollars in losses resulting from an exodus of the intermediary market service providers. That's a direct quote from a former chief who saw all this coming. The exodus of intermediary market service providers has already taken place. Coinbase, Kraken, So anyway, he's basically going on to say this guy literally wrote the guy a letter and said, don't do this. This is ridiculous. And Jay Clayton ignored it and did it anyway. My gut just tells me there's some kind of game being played here, some kind of a motive beyond enforcing anything. Bitcoin news. President Vladimir Putin has made a de-dollarization his country's key policy to reduce the Russian economy's exposure to the U.S. dollar amid sanctions. Well, why wouldn't they do this? But when this has been going on for all of these years, 108 years of U.S. dollar production, 25% of all USD in existence was produced in the last 12 months. 75% of all USD in existence was produced in the last 12 years. And then this guy's a Bitcoin guy. He says, Bitcoin is a non-counterparty insurance policy on the Fed, a contract growing more valuable with every dollar printed. Okay. Now, I wanted to finish with this. XRP BART, the IMF you can literally see them just ramping up. That you can see that it's like a wave that's building, and you can see they keep on putting all these polls up. Our central bank digital currency is really money. And then they replied to their own tweet. It might be digital, will it really be a currency? While central banks examine the case for developing a digital currency, many might not be allowed to do so by their own bylaws. More in the new IMF staff research. So you can just feel it that something is imminent here. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that I spilled coffee all over the bank deposit slip that says that on it. Thank you for listening.
Every day, billions of people around the world are mocked, ridiculed, laughed at, and embarrassed by their friends, family, and even strangers. These people go through their days knowing there are secrets being kept from them. They hear the faint whispers behind closed doors. The information and knowledge is held very close and only shared with others who were fortunate enough to find out. Feeling lost, rejected, and ostracized, these people give up, never finding out what digital assets the digital asset investor holds. But there is hope. Join the free Digital Asset Investor email newsletter and find out what digital assets he owns each month, including investments he's considering. Click the link in the description of this video or go to digitalassetinvestornewsletter.com. Put an end to your days of gloom and depression. Join the greatest free digital asset email newsletter ever created.